Okay, great. Thank you very much for that kind introduction. And yeah, today we're talking about making room for gifts and guests. Because with all the hubbub around Christmas, or Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, I don't. If anybody celebrates Kwanzaa or knows much about that, you can help me out here because I don't. But I know that it involves people, and when there's people that you have to worry about, what's out. We're going to really talk about the stuff that's out. Because all these holidays generate a lot of stuff. There's a lot of gifts, there's gift wrappings, and you want your place to look nice if people come over. I mean, guests are really the big thing because you want to be on your best, at your best when you have people, visiting to you. So visiting you. So anyway, it is a very busy month, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed. You look at your Christmas list, or you look at, the gifts you have to get each night for Hanukkah or whatever, and it just seems like so much stuff. So much stuff to do, so much stuff to buy, so much stuff to, wrap and then sometimes the house goes by the wayside because, there's just so much going on. Um, anyway, I kind of came at this with the idea of when you're entertaining people and what you want the place to look like when people are coming, to visit. And because most of us have that, even if we don't have like a ton of guests, so we don't have house guests or whatever, it's still like a lot of people. And I want you to chime in too. I really like to have, first of all, everybody's ideas on this because I don't have the ultimate wisdom in the world, and I think that it helps us to kind of make it more of a conversation. So um, uh, I want you to think of decluttering as reducing the stress. All right, because we all have a certain degree of stress at this time, and uh, it'll be easier to do things. And this is one thing that you really have to keep in mind. It's easier to get the stuff done that you have to get done if the surfaces are clear. If you have surfaces to do your cooking, your baking, your wrapping presents, and all that sort of thing. If those spaces are pretty clear to start with. And if you have house guests, and I don't know how many you do, I'm having just my son and his wife and his daughter. But you want things to be nice for them too. You want them to have a clean space, a clean room, and a bathroom that's not cluttered with, like your junk. If you can help that. It's one thing if you can have a dedicated bathroom for them, but even in that case, it's a bathroom that other people use, at other times. And there's beauty products or shaving stuff or whatever, whether it's your own bathroom that you're sharing or whether it's a separate bathroom. That's something that we're going to go into too, I think. Okay, so all right, so where do we begin? And again, I want you to cue me as to what you really want to discuss. But I know we've done decluttering a lot, but we haven't really dealt with it in terms of entertaining people or in having places to put the stuff that you want to put out, which is a big thing. And one of the things I was thinking about was uh, that, it's like at this time, it's easy to say, I don't have time to do this. I just don't have time to declutter. But I say set a timer, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you can do in that amount of time. And you're free to stop when the timer goes off. Hopefully, you'll find another time to set like the timer again for 10 or 15 or even 5 minutes. Um, and you'll be thinking, it'll give you the mindset too to be thinking about, oh, when I get a chance, I'll do that counter or I'll do that table or I'll, get those dust bunnies under the chair. Um, that's so just keep that in mind that it does not have to be a huge amount of time. Overall, you might spend quite a bit of time, but it can be in little pockets as you think of things. Or when you finish wrapping, for example, put the wrappings away. All right. It does help if you have, and we will discuss this, like places to put this stuff. Um, so let's see. What's one of the things I thought we should start out with first? Oh, another thing I was going to say: reward yourself. If you do something, um, if you have done your 15 minutes or your 20 minutes and you're so proud of yourself, take 5 minutes to read something, to read, or to listen to carols on the your iPad or something, or to do something that's it'd be very nice if it's holiday related. It doesn't have to be holiday related, but something for you. Sit down, have a cup of tea, whatever floats your boat. And everybody's will be different. Have a glass of wine, maybe. Um, so anyway, what we're trying to do here is create calm. So if you're a raging maniac, that's not going to help. You got to kind of have to, um, you know, deal with things and maintain a little bit of, peace. To know that you can stop when you want. Nothing is, so urgent. Your family will love you anyway. You want a nice place for them, but if you don't get it all done, they're not going to, hate you for not having the cleanest house on the block. Um, all right. Okay. Uh, when you first pass at stuff around the house, you look around the living room, look around the dining room, if you have one, look around the kitchen, and is there anything that can just really go? Is there a pile of newspapers in the corner? Is there, glasses from last night out, or things that can either belong someplace else. There's really like two categories: things that belong someplace else and need to be relocated back to their place, or things that are just trash that need to go in the bin, and as the British would say, and be gone with you. Uh, if you see something that you feel should be walked out the door, walk it out the door. Get rid of it. Okay. Let's see. All right. So let's say that your clearing off spaces has resulted in some stuff that you feel, well, maybe somebody else could use that. All right. One of the things you can do is to take that bag of stuff or that box of stuff and put it in your trunk. You're going to be out and about because you're going to be doing shopping. You're going to be buying food for the for the parties, for the meals, for the whatever. You're going to be buying gifts for people. So you're going to be out, and if you have it in your trunk, you can stop at Goodwill, you can stop at Salvation Army, you can stop wherever it is that you donate your stuff and say, here, I have a gift for you for the holidays. That's stuff that I don't need anymore, but could be for somebody else. And who knows, you might actually be donating somebody else's Christmas present. Somebody may say, "Oh, that'd be the perfect for Aunt Joan or something," and buy your, the what you decided you didn't need anymore. Okay, so you might be passing your wealth on. Um, okay, all right. Does anybody have any problems with those things? Like, do you think that Beverly, you help me out here? Is there anything I said that would be too difficult to do?
No, I think that what I liked the most about what you just said was that to look around and see what obviously doesn't belong there, like the easy pickings,
Yeah.
because that there's so much. I mean, when you get in that mindset,
Mhm.
there's so much you can relocate, or it just. But we don't. I don't think we ask ourselves the questions.
Right. You're right. Yeah, the thing is that we become blind to this stuff. And it doesn't matter so much if you're kicking around your house by yourself or your apartment by yourself. It's not such, a big deal to have an extra, like a pile of books on the table next to your reading chair, or to have, to leave a coffee cup in the living room and just kind of forget about it. But, you know,
Well,
yeah.
I wanted to just share. So, a friend of mine came over to look at art and she wanted to buy something. And her house is immaculate. I mean, like, it's minimalist, it's artistic because she's an artist too, and it's all white and it's gorgeous. So, I had never let her come here. And so I mean that's what I did before she came was, okay, what do I have to do to make this look good,
Mhm.
like what's obvious here that jumps out at you when you walk in is not belonging or being really messy.
Uh-huh.
And with that simple thought, I make things look really acceptable. So by the time she came, I wasn't so embarrassed.
Because
But
when you're by yourself, with it, or with your significant other or whatever, it doesn't. What does it matter? It's not, it's not such an earth shattering thing. But you do want to make a nice impression on people.
yes, I think that, and I think that's a big motivator is to
Uh-huh.
invite someone over.
Yeah. And my thought is, even if it's family, you should be providing even if it's only family coming for a holiday, you should be providing a nice space for them to relax and enjoy themselves. So that was uh, one thing I have my notes here because I was afraid I was going to forget stuff, and I'm sure I will. Oh, one of the things I thought about was because a lot of times we're clearing spaces to put stuff out. I have boxes of tchotchkes, like Christmas tchotchkes, like there's Santa Clauses and there's, my nativity set and there's like, all this stuff. And so in part, you're clearing away to put, those seasonal things out, whatever holiday it is you're celebrating, So you need if you need room and all what you and you go and so then what are you going to do with this stuff because you have to put these things out. What are you going to do with this stuff? Put it in the box that you just took the holiday stuff out of, and then wherever you had that holiday box, put this one back, and then you at the end of the holidays you have to reverse the process. All right, so you have to, but it does give you, rather than trying to decorate on top of all the stuff that you already have, if you're making room, then take those things away. I mean, unless it's something that's a very sentimental or something and you just want to put it in a different place, that's fine. But don't try to just push everything into the room. If this lamp is taking the place of another lamp, or if this statuette is taking the place of another statuette, stash the one, your everyday one, the one that's there, like 11 months out of the year. And then it gives you like a little more breathing room because you already have that box. That box came from someplace. It can go back there for the duration, and everybody will be happy. Let's see. All right. I think that's like that's one of the things that that I've done that where because we have an awful lot of Christmas stuff. But no matter what your holiday is, you may have a lot of stuff. All right. Okay. Also, not everything has to go out. Like, I have three big bins of Christmas decorations, not counting the tree stuff, not counting all the ornaments. And every vacation that we've gone on, and I've gotten an ornament for the tree. So, not counting that, there are three boxes, good sized bins in the attic with Christmas stuff. You can rotate stuff. You don't have to put everything out, and you can have to ask yourself honestly, is this looking really ratty now? If I'm not putting it out because it looks a little shabby, then either decide whether it can be given away or whether it should just be tossed. Don't bother saving the stuff that's not too good to put away up this year. It's not going to be any better next year. You can lose stuff. You just say, even if it was your mom's, even if it was your Aunt Tildy's, if it's not good enough to put up, then why do you have it and why do you need it? And do you think your mother would be standing over you saying, you've got to put that out? I always put that out. So think of things that way. Just, I'm not saying to be, like crazy about it, but you can do a little judicious weeding of your ornaments and things as you're putting them out. Okay. If something's really iffy, all right, and you leave it in the box, then at the end of the holiday, think, did I really miss it? Do I need it? Would somebody else like to have this? And take care of it that way. Okay. Uh, now, the thing, and this probably only relates to Christmas, not Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, but if you have something like we're talking about like tabletop kinds of things so far. If you have a tree, if you're trying to fit a tree in your living room, some of us have. Sometimes it's a nice corner, and nobody's going to use the piano, so if it kind of is in front of the piano, it doesn't really make a difference here. So, but other times it's like, ugh, And then you really have to think about, is there a piece of furniture that can go elsewhere? Maybe not really comfortably, but could it fit in your bedroom, or could it fit in a guest room, or could it, would it look okay in the hall? Whatever. You might, to make space, you want things to be comfortable and you want people to be able to navigate your living room or your family room or wherever this tree is. So you might have to actually move a piece of furniture. And think about that when you're getting a tree. Maybe you'll say, do I really want to do that? And if the answer is no, maybe you're looking for a smaller tree or a tabletop tree or something along that line. So, that's kind of planning that you have to do in advance, usually of buying, something big. I don't know that there's anything comparable for the other holidays, but Christmas, the tree is a big deal. Okay. Um, all right. Now, guest rooms. This is if you have a guest room, okay, that's wonderful. Very often, guest rooms become repositories for all the things you want to get out of your life. And you're filling up the drawers in the dresser and the chest of drawers. You're out of season clothing in the closet, and then all of a sudden you're going to have guests. Like I said, in my case, it's just my family, but there's three of them that I have to accommodate. And so you have to think about what's in the closet. You really want this stuff or not? And you might have to inconvenience yourself by moving some of it to your room or to some kind of a storage area or something. But it's not really fair to your guests to show them the space. It looks lovely, and then they go to put their underwear away, and there's not a drawer to be had. Everything's full. They're living out of a suitcase, maybe, when they really don't have to do that, when they could hang their clothes up, they could put their clothes in a dresser drawers. So but this takes a little planning in advance. You have to say, okay, what have I got? And you might have to leave them all the drawers if they're staying for a few nights, not for 2 weeks. You don't have to necessarily give them a tremendous amount of space, but you have to say, oh, these drawers are empty, and so that you can use them. So make sure, some people suggest sleeping in your guest room to see how comfortable it is. How does it work? Is it going to be a problem? Are there any problems there? So that's another suggestion. And the bathroom that they're going to use. I started talking about this a little before. If they are going to use, if they have their own designated bathroom, which is very nice. Like, then it shouldn't be full of your stuff. Okay. And if you don't usually use that, you could box that stuff up or, get rid of it so that at least they have a couple of shelves and a drawer or two to put, their grooming items in, and make sure it's equipped with like extra toilet paper and a stack of washcloths in the drawer and things like that, so that they have what they need when they need it, and they don't have to go to you and say, can I have this, or do you have that? And so you can't anticipate every need. That's impossible, but you can anticipate a lot of things and try to head that off so that it doesn't become a problem later on. Anybody have any questions about guest rooms and such?
Yes, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
All right. And it relates to it's my second bedroom, and this is where the kids stay. Okay. And they leave their stuff here, even though they're not here very much. Like you talk about drawers, they're taking up one or two drawers out of the three drawers
Uh-huh.
in the bureau, and there's clothes and there's some boots in the closet. Not that much, but it would
Uh-huh.
be nice to have the space.
Yeah.
And and I've kind of gently said something about it, but with no results, you know.
Well, how often do they come?
Um, well, one of them used to come almost every week, and now she has a boyfriend, and it's more like once a month or every two
Uh-huh.
months or
Yeah.
something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And the other one a couple times a year, and
Uh-huh.
she doesn't have as much as the other one is.
Yeah.
but it's like her life changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she has this stuff here. Like she said, "Oh, I need to clean it up," and it doesn't happen. So um, I'm not sure. I'm at a loss of how to handle it. You know?
Well, one thing, well, because you said that there's only like three drawers in the place.
Yeah, in that room. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a closet, right, with a shelf.
Yeah, and there's some clothes and there's some boots in boxes up there that don't belong to me. And like I say, it would be nice to have that shelf space, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and the thing is, if you had another guest, this is also problematic. Like if somebody else, a friend came to visit you or whatever, that it can be a problem.
Yeah,
Um,
there's no place for their clothes and
yeah,
there's no drawer for them.
right.
But so far I've been avoiding that for obvious reasons.
Well, the thing I might say, it might be you might be able to have like a bin, like not leave things in the dresser, put them in this bin, and it can be on the closet floor. Okay. And so that, like wouldn't take up the whole closet, maybe, like the whole closet floor. So people can hang shorter things over here, the pants on the rod or whatever. And if they had something long, it could go on the other side. But then it would free up the drawers.
That's a great idea. You know,
Yeah.
it never once occurd to me.
Yeah. That, like they could leave the stuff, but you might need the drawer space. Now, of course, the thing is, if you use the drawer space, then when they're coming, you got to unload it. You got to take all that stuff back. So, but that's one way to handle it is to say, okay, you can leave the stuff, but it's got to stay in this bin, and it can't be any more than fits in this bin.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a big bin either. Like some of them are only about this deep.
Yeah. No, that's true. I never thought about moving the stuff out of the drawer.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
But the
you.
thing is, what I would suggest is not to surprise them with, oh, your stuff's in a bin, but rather, get the bin before they go and say, please put your stuff in here. This way, if I have another guest, I have room, you know, just a suggestion anyway. Okay. Um, I,
The, the other thing, Pat, I was going to say you're right on when you say, your guest bedroom becomes the repository for everything. That's
ask me how I know that, Beverly.
How do you know that, Pat? How
Because
many guest bedrooms do you have?
well, we're in a four-bedroom house and it's only myself and my husband right now, but
Right.
there's only one room really made up for guests. The other rooms are really if the grandkids stay over, so, but anyway, but it's stuff spreads, rather than moving it on or storing it or getting rid of it. So anyway, okay. Any more questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. So, and we talked about the bathrooms. Um, you know, uh, right now is probably not the best time to like pull everything out of your own bathroom. But if you have two bathrooms, I mean, if you don't have two bathrooms and you have guests who are going to stay and they're going to use your bathroom, you have to take out things that you don't absolutely need, just to give them one shelf in the medicine cabinet or some space on the vanity, or some sort of arrangement so that they can leave, they don't have to tote their stuff back and forth from the guest room to the bathroom. It would be nice if they were able to store some stuff there themselves. Okay. um and uh and then there's the kitchen. Now, to me, at holiday time, you know, people like to hang out in the kitchen. For me, I'm a big baker. I bake a lot of cookies. And I already have like, I think maybe four kinds of cookies in boxes in the freezer, all ready to go. And my biggest disappointment for today was that I didn't get to make a recipe that my husband found in the Times yesterday or the day before, that I had wanted to make. But the one thing about cleaning up, about decluttering at this time of year, is that, to do anything, you need a clean surface. If you're going to think about wrapping, If you have, a kitchen counter where you're going to wrap, or a kitchen table like with stuff on it, you've got to, make room. Sometimes you may have a dining room table that you could use if it has pads on it or something. But like you need space to do a lot of the things that we do at holiday time. And so it's better to keep on top of this so that it's not like, because if your kitchen is a wreck, but you really wanted to make those chocolate chip cookies that everybody loves, by the time you get the kitchen cleaned up, you don't want to make the cookies, you're exhausted. So if you keep on top of that sort of thing, I think it's good. Now, a lot of people do not like dish drainers. They don't like having that out on the counter. They think it's, I don't know what they think, but to me, I love it because then you can wash up two dishes or whatever you have around and put it in the dish drainer. And then every once in a while, when you're in the kitchen, you just unload the dry stuff. But it keeps it moving. I think if I didn't have the dish drainer, I don't know if I would be as likely to, like wash up these two dishes. Then what are you going to do with them? Like, where are you going to put them? They can hang out in the dish. I mean, I'm not, like then it's more time. If you're going to wash a dish, dry it. Wash a dish, dry it. So, like I said, I do think that a dish drainer is a good idea. But you do have to keep things moving and not have it jammed full of stuff all the time. Otherwise, it doesn't serve its purpose. But but wiping down the counters so that they're ready to go, so that cleaning up after each meal right away, things like that. And also, again, the stuff that you have on your counters, do you need it on the counter? I have a big KitchenAid mixer, but I don't leave it on the counter. I have it fits in one of my below level cabinets, and it's heavy to pick up, but it takes up too much room on the counter. So you might have to leave your coffee maker and your toaster out, or your fry, what do they call them, the fryers. If that's what if, air fryer, that's what it is. If those type of appliances that you're using every day, and want to have that have handy. But think about like almost everything that's out there. Do you need the canisters out? Now, of course, the thing is, a lot of kitchens, there's not a lot of space to store stuff in cabinets, whether it's upper cabinets or lower cabinets. There's not necessarily, a lot of space. So that's another consideration. But if you don't need it on the counter every day, where could it go? Think about what sort of where could you stash this thing. All right. And I don't know what you have, like there might be decorative stuff, which is fine if it's not in your way. Like I have a cookie jar out on my on one of my counters, but it wouldn't be there if I really needed that counter space. So you have to kind of think, what it is, and then if you don't use it very often, it's really, you have to really think hard about where you're going to put it. And sometimes some people would put it like, um, on the shelf in their closet because they, don't, that there is a little space on there and they'll know where to get it. I mean, it's not ideal to have a kitchen appliance or a kitchen, something from your kitchen in the bedroom, but that might work for you. If it makes think, well, decluttering makes your life easier. Things go quicker. If you have to stop and clear off the space, which might only mean clearing off the counter and putting it on the kitchen table, which is, not that helpful because then you've got to clear off the kitchen table when you're going to eat. So, if you can kind of think of like where, if I don't use something every day, if I use it, rarely, where can I put it? Where I can retrieve it without too much difficulty. You don't want to put your mixer or in your storage unit someplace. That's not going to be helpful. So you really have to think through, like is it cost effective in terms of your time, where something is going to go. Okay. Um, but that's, the surfaces, where whatever room it is, the surfaces are important. Um, the other thing I was going to say is like try to develop a radar for clutter. Okay. Because very often what happens is we go through and we don't see stuff anymore. I mean, I've done this myself, that glass has been sitting on the counter for, 2 days now. Right? It happens, and it's easy to, begin to like become blind to it. So every once in a while, walk in your house like you're a visitor, and say, and just take a look around. Does it look warm? Does it look welcoming? Or is there a pile of newspapers falling off the couch? Um, what works for you? And what would make you feel comfortable? It's probably what would make your guests feel comfortable. So you could take care of that. Um, anyway, so that's what I'm saying. Just don't let it go where you don't think about it. The other thing I want to talk about in terms of decluttering was paying it forward in a way. Um, when you're buying gifts for people, think about buying gifts that aren't clutter. Okay. That might be a really cute statuette, but it's going to sit on a shelf someplace. You might, it may relate to somebody's hobby or interest, or have some kind of a sentimental attachment for a person. Then it's different maybe. But in the anything that's just going to be decorative, um, and you can't always be sure of a person's taste or what they would really like either, um, unless you know them very, very well. You might want to think about getting clutter-free gifts. And you know, uh, like I asked for um, suggestions from my kids for what they wanted, and my kid that lives in LA, he and his girlfriend said a membership to this. I forget what they called it, Heritage Gardens or something. Anyway, but it's basically like a library, a heritage library. It's like has a botanical gardens attached to it, and it looks lovely, But that's the membership's not cheap, and that would be that's a present for both of them, in a membership to this place, uh, because that's something that they want to do. So, like tickets for a show, or some kind of an event that they want to do, or taking somebody out to lunch. I think I had some other ideas in here too. Let me just see. Um, you know, buying them gourmet foods, something consumable that they would like. Not really too exotic, Then you want to make sure they like it, but that they might not buy for themselves. So, like something that's
Flower subscriptions.
oh, that's a nice idea too. Like, like a bouquet of the month.
Yeah, yeah, I would love that.
Thank you, Mary. That's a great idea. Yeah. Even a plant or something. But like, yeah, I like that idea of a flower subscription. That's a really nice gift. Uh, so, something that they would use and enjoy, but that doesn't add to the stuff they have to navigate around in their homes. Um, Okay. Um, and ask for clutter-free gifts for yourself. Do yourself a favor. I always tell my kids, you can take me out to lunch. I would like that. And that's something that, you spending time with somebody, and you know, and also, something that's you'll have the memory always, but you won't have something sitting on the shelf. Um, Okay. All right. Okay. My last tip, and we're going to have some time for discussion. I hope people will discuss, or at least put their questions in the chat, something like that. One of the things that I think you should think about is if you've boxed up stuff to put it away to make room for your decorations, when you're unboxing the stuff, think about it. Is this something? I mean, the chances are, if you thought about you may have given it this thought before you boxed it. But very often we're in such a rush when we're trying to get ready for the holidays. Is this something, as you take stuff out of the box to put the Christmas decorations or the Hanukkah stuff or the Kwanzaa? I don't know how they decorate for Kwanzaa, but back in the box, are these things that I stashed? Did I miss them? Do I really need them? Do I want them? I mean, you may not need it, but you may want it, and that's okay. But just give it a little bit of thought before you stick it back on the shelf, because you might prefer to have the empty shelf for something else that you have hidden in another corner, or for something that for a couple more books that you would like to buy, or whatever it might be. Like if so I'm not saying don't put it back. You may absolutely love everything that you boxed up to make room for your Christmas decorations or your Hanukkah decorations. But if you if you just did it in a hurry and you didn't think about it, it might be a good opportunity to think, is this something that I really need to keep? Is this something that I really want? So I have to ask, is everybody all ready for the holidays? Are you all Nobody's answering, right? How about you, Mary? Are you ready for the holiday? Nope. She's not going to say. She's not going to.
Well, I was glad that you were having this session tonight because I haven't gotten my Hanukkah stuff out yet.
Okay.
And I have a note to myself now to do this over the weekend. And
yeah.
I need to do it. And yeah, no, it's kind of like Thanksgiving was a little bit later this year, so it's
yes, it was as late.
fast.
They said it was as late as it could be this year. So
yeah, it's all sneaking up fast, and and Christmas shoppings. I was going to suggest, I got someone who didn't want any more stuff. I got her a gift certificate to a local theater.
That's nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
an experience, and then she can also pick what she wants to see.
yes.
Yeah. So I think that's a very good idea. But that there's some people there's something that they like, or and that, and it's something that a thing that you could buy for them. But for a lot of us, most of us, especially at our age, don't need more stuff. We have, but younger people, they may have something. And I also think it's good to ask people. I don't think a present has to be a terrific surprise, but you can get a couple of ideas, and for something, so that you're not just buying stuff to buy stuff. You're buying stuff that they really want or need or have been looking forward to getting, for themselves, but haven't had the cash to do it. There's a lot of things to think about. Not every gift is clutter. Far from it. But especially if you get clothing gifts, I think it's wise to think, do the one in, one out. Not that it always works out that way, but like you're getting a shirt, so looking at the shirts, is there one that really you've been passing over every time you leaf through the closet because it's really just not quite so great? So you get a new shirt, you get rid of one. Again, that's not like a hard and fast rule. I mean, some people are very, they bring something into the house, they get rid of something kind of an equivalent size or shape or something. But I don't know that that's absolutely necessary. But you can give it a passing thought, especially if you're looking for a place to put it and can't find a place. Then you might want to say, what can go to make room for this thing that I really love. So anyone else? Anybody has some suggestions? Because I'm open to suggestions.
Thoughts. I've been kind of quiet tonight, Dr. Pat, but I have some thoughts.
I need you.
First of all, I'm envious that you're baking already because I love to bake too, and I haven't started yet. And I would love to know what kind of cookies you already baked. But anyway, that's another conversation. But okay, so I had a couple of thoughts. And one of my thoughts was I am really a fan of like the big statement. And I feel like this maybe could go like a long way as far as helping people not accumulate too much if you're starting out or, trying to like winnow down your collection if you need to.
Yeah.
We put up our tree. It's not decorated yet, but we went with a skinny tree this year because we have 3 dogs in the house now.
Oh,
And I'm
gee.
looking forward to the challenge of decorating the tree whenever I get to decorate it because when we got dog number 2, like 2 years ago, we decided not to go with our like heirloom ornaments that we've been
Right.
collecting like since Joe and I got married. And we consciously went with like cheapo ornaments because we didn't know how the dog was going to be. We didn't want
Right.
it to get broken.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
because they
for
can
like,
really,
yes.
yeah, they can chew up
So
stuff and
for
they
like
can
the
bump into it
last
too.
2 years, I have honestly done such a good job of the cheapo tree. Like I was really proud of my tree last year. Like it was really pretty. Like I have a whole different level of respect now for plastic ornaments, and ribbon because my tree looked really good last year. And this year I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Good.
But aside from that, I don't have a lot of, I mean, I have like the Christmas Village. I have like all this stuff. Half the time we can't even get to like all the stuff that we do have. We do have
No.
a collection of nutcrackers that I'm going to put in my dining room. We do that every year. The Christmas Village hasn't seen the light of day in I don't know how long. But the one thing that really, aside from the tree, makes my living room look like Christmas is I have this enormous, it's got to be like 3 feet across, Christmas wreath that I bought at Home Goods.
Oh,
And I
okay.
spent, like, I thought too much for it at the time, but it's beautiful. And it's got
Yeah.
like glittered poinsettias and pine cones and beads and berries and a sparkly red bow. And it's big. And we take down the piece of art that I have hung up over the couch and we put up the big wreath for my sofa. And the whole living room all of a sudden just looks like,
Christmas.
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 And sometimes you only need like a one big thing. You know what I mean?
A statement piece. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So those were the two. Oh, I did have one other thought. And then one other thing that I always love the idea, but I never really got to accomplish it myself. And it's a small thing, but if people are looking to, not accumulate a lot of like I have tons of wrapping stuff. And I told everybody, I put my foot down. I'm like, nobody buys wrapping paper this year. Use the paper we have, and we'll see if they do it. But I saw in a cookbook one time, there was a woman who did a cookbook, like cookbooks all about the Amish country. And anyway, she did a Christmas book. Anyway, she had the classiest idea. She wrapped all her presents in just red paper, all of
Uh,
them in red paper. And she would tie on each one, she would save the fronts of Christmas cards from the year
uh,
before because so many of them are so beautiful. And she
right.
would tie on this big, gorgeous piece of like Christmas art with the ribbon and the red paper. And they showed the pile of them under the tree. And I was like, God, that's classic Christmas, you know?
And you can use the back of the card as the gift card, like
Right, you could.
the name
I
on
mean,
it.
if you matched it up, but
Yeah.
I thought, people don't always like to get rid of Christmas cards because they're so pretty or cards. You could do that like for any, but it was just so, it was so like, streamlined and I mean, actually economical because if you just get one big roll of, red paper, but and then you only have to put one roll away.
And no
Looked
matching
so
the pattern.
good. Yeah, right. No matching the pattern. Exactly. So anyway, those were my thoughts. So that
Well,
was my
those,
sharing.
it's funny when you mention nutcrackers because, and some people would probably think this is clutter, but
Yeah,
my
but they're
husband,
fun.
my husband collects nutcrackers. He's got all these Steinbach nutcrackers,
Oh, they're beautiful.
and then we have on the tape we have like we really like things with the sofa table, like from behind a sofa probably,
Hmm?
but it's in our hall, and it has 18 nutcrackers on it.
Wow, wow. I've lost count. I don't know how many we have. We have a couple of really good ones. We have some that aren't so good. We have some that, oh, and when you were saying when you're packing your stuff away, if like a nice antique shop or something and you don't, you think your time with a particular ornament or thing, is done, people always go to places like that to find
Right, to
stuff
pick
for
up
their own
ornaments. Yeah,
Christmas collections.
yeah.
Like I've gotten nutcrackers from like local consignment shops and antique shops and stuff, and I'm thrilled.
Uh-huh.
So, people are always on the hunt for stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
if you feel like, your time together is done, you
yeah.
can, make somebody else really happy and,
Right.
make a
Yes.
vendor happy too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would have a hard time. And the thing is, that makes it easier sometimes to part with something. If you
Right.
think that now somebody else can love this
Right.
because, like you've had it since the kids were little, or you've did, like, and then like just to like pitch it seems,
Yeah.
unless it's broken, unless there's something,
Right.
but,
Right.
like to find some place where they would take it, would be, to sell.
Yeah,
Uh,
and if you can sign it, then it's kind of, like a lot of the heavy lifting is done for you, and
right.
you don't have to like shop it around to your family. You put it, in a trusted, local antique shop or, consignment shop or something, and, then the person who's meant to have it's going to find it. So, yeah.
One of the things that we did when my mother passed away, after she passed away, when it came Christmas time, we took out her box of ornaments and we sat around in a circle, and we picked one. I guess I got to go first, I think, because I was oldest. But I picked one, and then my brother picked one, and my sister picked one, so that we kind of split up the ornaments.
Yeah, that's
Um,
nice. Everybody
and
shares.
some of them weren't worth sharing. They
Right, right.
some of them,
Yeah,
but
like I some sort of weird snowman made out of like bread dough or something in my little cabinet here of treasures, and he really is horrible. But I don't know. I kind of look at him every year and I'm like, oh, you're still with me. I know someone made him for me, but yeah,
Yeah.
there
Well,
are
and
those
sometimes too, the
things.
thing is, it's just because you've had it,
Right.
for 20 years or whatever, that gives it a certain value, in our minds,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
yeah. So you have to wait till the snowman loses a head or something to,
Right, right. And
so,
he's still pretty sturdy.
yeah. So anyway, anybody else with any notions about the holidays and what to do and, where to donate stuff or anything along that line?
Well, I have a thought. First of all, I must say that I'm so grateful to you for saying, ask yourself, do I need to keep this or do I want it? Because
who's speaking?
this is Diane.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hi. Because I have this year we're going to have some guests. Where our tree is, there's a rocking chair. It usually goes in the guest room because there's no place else to put it.
Yeah.
However, now we need the guest room, so the rocking chair would be in the way. So I thought I'll
Right.
stick it in the walk-in closet in that room. However, there's so much stuff in there now, and I was overwhelmed at what am I going to do with all this junk? How do I part with it? How do you know what to get rid of?
Yeah.
So you hit the nail on the head. Do I want it? Do I need it?
Yeah.
So I almost wish Christmas was over so I could get at it.
So
But I also
when is this company coming?
Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So I have to get busy. But also, I was thinking, okay, you have all this stuff and clutter, even some pretty Christmas things that you just, like you said, you don't have place for anymore or whatever. So why not suggest a white elephant gift party? It's something that, okay, it's funny. Somebody might want it actually, or you don't feel bad about getting rid of it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
giving something away and not have to feel bad about it. Anyway, that's just my thought.
Very good. Thank you so much. I hope you join us every time when.
Thank you.